In this video, I want to show you what we are going to call an error plot for the moment, but it'll eventually be called a residual plot. What this is going to be is a plot that will compare, or it'll be a scattered plot of sorts that's going to compare on the x-axis your shifted values, and on your y-values, it's going to be the error used to shift those things off of a line there. So if I load this back up nice and fresh like I have here, and just run all this, we can see that I have what going on right now. I have my x minus 1 line, and then I have these blue circles, which are actually points that were what they were meant to be plotted on the line, but then I added that error to it. So it shifted them up, or it shifted them down in some way off of that line. So each one of these blue dots here has a y value to it, a height, and each one of these dots here has actually a distance, which is that error between the red line and the blue dot there. So what we want to do is actually plot those together. So I'm going to make a new plot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the original y values, or I'm sorry, the shifted y values on the x-axis. So that's going to be the y coordinate of these blue dots. So I'll do y shifted. And then I'm going to throw on the other one how much they were shifted off by. And that's coming from this error vector. And I'm going to plot that, and I want to throw one more thing on there. I'm going to throw an AB line on it, and the AB line is going to be at y equals 0, and I'll make the color of that equal to red, just so it's easier to see. Oops, that should be horizontal. There we go. There we go. And so this is what this AB line looks like right here. And you'll notice as you go across here, these things are sort of evenly spread above the line y equals 0 and below the line y equals 0, which they should be if you remember that these errors here are supposed to be random normal, and they're supposed to have a mean of 0, so you should have some above it and some below that line there, and should have about 50% above, about 50% below. I'm going to rerun this thing all over again, and so we got a different set of values here, and indeed same sort of pattern happens. This one not so much. I got a couple of ones flying down at the bottom, but still mainly it's half above, half below. You know, this one kind of flipped the other way, but we get basically the same thing with each of these things. It's sort of centered at 0, and there's an even spread sort of above and below there, and you're not really noticing too much of a pattern one side to the other. You know, one's not spread out a lot more on one side than the other, one's not sort of got a lot more at one end than the other, anything like that. So this is what I'll call an error plot, and later on I'll call it a residual plot. And all it's doing is it's looking at the actual shifted values, the values that are shifted off that line, and then it's looking at how much they were shifted off that line, in our case, x minus 1. So that's what this error plot or residual plot later on will be.